is a bit of bureaucracy. So, good afternoon. It's really an honor to have Bridge Colby visiting today. And you're a great friend. You were here in February. And then we discussed the absolute need for Europe to step up and Canada to step up in NATO and to have a more honest and a more equitable sharing of what you're doing within NATO with the United States. You coined the phrase NATO 3.0. And that's basically what we're now all using because it was very well put. It is a stronger Europe and a stronger Canada in a stronger NATO. And it is happening. When you look at the moment, in 2025, $139 billion extra spent on defense by the Canadians and the Europeans compared to the years before. And it is still continuing, and there's still much more to be done. We will get there. When you look at the capabilities, the same good news story. And when it comes to the leadership positions within NATO, the same is happening. Then we had a visit in June of Secretary Hexet, and he said, hey, listen, we constantly have to look at what is the best footprint for the US in Europe given the security environment. And he said, we will consult with our allies. This is exactly what you have been doing over the last couple of months. Today is also evidence of that. You being here at the meeting with the ambassadors, also consulting on this, discussing with allies what is the best way forward. So thank you for that. Thank you for your leadership and for being such an incredible friend.
Well, thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Thank you very much, Mr. Secretary General. And I think the spirit is exactly the same spirit that we're pursuing this review in. And I just want to start out by thanking the Secretary General on behalf of our government as a tremendous friend to our government, but more importantly, I think in this context, for the alliance, exactly the spirit that I think we've all been pushing for. And that really, I think, just to kind of center on how tremendous of an accomplishment, I mean, thanks to the Secretary General, thanks to President Trump, thanks to some key leaders here in Europe, to go from a conversation that was in quite a different place a couple of years ago to one where we're actually having a kind of down-to-business conversation about how we go forward together in a world in which Europe, which is obviously a very wealthy continent, can and is taking primary responsibility for its own conventional defense. Obviously, the United States remaining committed to NATO, remaining linked to this alliance here, of course, and also the lead, Europe taking the lead in support to Ukraine. So the spirit that we come in is obviously one, as you said, sir, of consultation, of engagement. We want to hear from our allies. I mean, that's the questionnaire that some of you asked about. We wanted allies to hear from them directly in writing, in the spirit of NATO 3.0, sir, that you pointed to, which is a European-led conventional defense, but understanding how we manage across time, the extraordinary investments by governments like Poland, like Germany, like your country, the Netherlands, many others. We hope others will come along. But I think we really want to stress here, and again, thanks to President Trump, thanks to Secretary General Rutte, how extraordinary this progress has been. And then to build, and this review is as the Secretary Hegseth has called it, the NATO 3.0 review, to advance and accelerate what's happening. And then to look at the strategic posture at a high level of the U.S. forces in Europe, obviously Europe remaining a critical interest of the United States, even as we prioritize the Western Hemisphere and the First Island chain, how we make that fit for purpose, not only for today, but going forward. Obviously, a lot of things here in the continent, we would think about even NATO 1.0, going back to 1987, 1988. Let's make it adaptive. Let's make it make sense. Let's look at some of the things like access spacing and overflight, where there is a lot of good, but there's some things that we need to work out to make sense going forward. So that's the spirit. I'm here. I've already had a series of really great meetings this morning with European counterparts, with our incredible Ambassador Whitaker here. I had the opportunity on Tuesday to visit U.S.-European Command with General Grinkovich. That was a great working session. And then yesterday to hear from the SHAPE staff, Supreme Headquarters, Allied Powers Europe. So it's been a tremendous visit. And again, sir, really thanks to you for your leadership. Thanks for your hospitality here today.
Thanks for your leadership. Great.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
And now we will have lunch.